Imagine thousands dying each year from something as simple as rising temperatures, yet a think tank dares to claim it's not even a thing. That's the shocking debate unfolding in Australia's climate policy arena, and it's one that could shape our planet's future. Stick around, because uncovering the truth might just change how you see global warming. Ever wondered when something undeniably real gets dismissed as non-existent? That's exactly what's happening when a prominent think tank tries to sway political minds against urgent action on climate change. Specifically, we're talking about the Centre for Independent Studies, CIS, a free market organization known for its stance on economic policies, which recently briefed coalition MPs in Canberra. Their goal? To downplay the need for policies aimed at achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions, essentially, balancing the gases we release into the atmosphere with those we remove to halt global warming. As detailed in a Guardian Australia report, the CIS presented slides asserting that heat deaths aren't a thing. This was part of their pitch to cool enthusiasm for renewable energy transitions, and instead promote alternatives like nuclear power. But what does this claim really mean, and is it backed by science? Let's break it down step by step, making sure even newcomers to climate discussions can follow along. The CIS pointed to a September technical report from the Australian Climate Service as part of the National Climate Risk Assessment. This assessment evaluates how climate change might affect Australia, including health risks. One slide from the think tank highlighted charts estimating temperature-related deaths in cities like Sydney and Melbourne. They argued that the danger from cold weather outweighs that from extreme heat, focusing on the gray part of the curve, which represents current conditions, rather than the green area showing projections for a world with 3 degrees Celsius of global warming. But here's where it gets controversial. The CIS conveniently ignored the core purpose of the risk assessment, which is to warn about future risks under climate change. That green curve is crucial. It illustrates how rising temperatures amplify heat-related mortality. For instance, at just 2 degrees Celsius of global heating, Sydney could see heat-related deaths soar by nearly 200%, while Melbourne might experience more than double the current numbers. And it's not just these cities. The assessment covers locations across Australia, from Adelaide to Darwin, predicting similar rises in heat mortality at 3 degrees Celsius. A spokesperson from the Australian Climate Service clarified that extreme heat exacerbates many leading causes of death, such as heart disease, kidney issues, dementia, and diabetes. Unlike cold-related deaths, which spread out over time and have less strain on healthcare, heat deaths often cluster in short bursts, overwhelming medical systems. This distinction is vital for understanding the broader impact. The timing of the CIS's presentation couldn't have been worse, or perhaps perfectly timed, depending on your view. Just days later, the Lancet, a respected medical journal, released a global report on health and climate change. Far from dismissing heat deaths, it revealed staggering figures. Between 2012 and 2021, an average of 546,000 people worldwide died annually from heat-related causes, a 63% jump from the 1990s. That's roughly one person every minute, a statistic that's hard to ignore. While some of this increase ties to population growth, heat-related deaths per 100,000 people still climbed from 5.9 to 7.2, a 23% rise. In Australia alone, the report estimated about 980 such deaths yearly during that period, up 83% since the 1990s. These numbers paint a grim picture of how warming temperatures are already claiming lives. Now, let's address a common counterargument that often sparks heated debates. Doesn't global warming mean fewer cold deaths, balancing things out? Climate skeptics frequently make this point, and the CIS emphasized cold-related risks in their briefing. Indeed, studies show more excess deaths from cold than heat under current conditions. But experts warn this overlooks the bigger picture. Dr. Thomas Longden from the University of Western Sydney has been vocal for years, arguing that traditional methods underestimate heat risks. He claims current death records might miss heat deaths by up to 50 times, urging updates to include underlying causes. Heat deaths are absolutely a reality, he insists, but we need better statistics to capture them accurately. A recent study in Nature analyzed over 800 cities and found that rising temperatures don't just cancel out cold deaths. In most European regions, they lead to net increases in temperature-related fatalities. Projections suggest that by century's end, global warming could cause between 616,000 and 2.3 million such deaths, depending on emissions levels. And this is the part most people miss: heat deaths are just the surface of a much deeper crisis. Australian government data reinforces this, showing extreme heat caused 7,104 hospital visits from 2012 to 2022, nearly 10 times more than cold weather. Professor Ollie J. at the University of Sydney's Heat and Health Research Centre notes that heat deaths disproportionately affect vulnerable communities, but they're preventable. He describes them as the tip of the iceberg, pointing to non-fatal effects like heat exhaustion, productivity loss, and long-term health issues that ripple through society. So, is the CIS right to dismiss heat deaths as not a thing? Or is this another tactic to delay climate action? What do you think? Should we prioritize nuclear over renewables, or push harder for emissions cuts? Does the idea of balancing heat and cold deaths hold water, or is it a dangerous oversimplification? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear agreements, disagreements, or fresh perspectives on this heated topic.